exclusive look at the new Netflix documentary, Amanda Knox. It has been almost a decade since the then 20-year-old American exchange student was accused of murdering her roommate in Italy. Well, now a highly anticipated film takes a fresh look at the case. We'll talk to the men behind that film in a moment, but first, how they and the Knox case sent shockwaves around the world.
It means that everyone's...
Amanda Knox, in her own words, vulnerable and exposed in a new Netflix documentary.
Either I'm a psychopath in sheep's clothing, or I am you.
November 2nd, 2007, police discovered a gruesome crime scene. 21-year-old British student Meredith Kircher stabbed multiple times inside her home in Perugia, Italy. Police accused Knox, her boyfriend Raffaele Sollecito, of the crime. Knox recounting the trauma of the interrogation by the lead prosecutor.
It wasn't the answer that he wanted, and I realized that, and I was devastated. Like, when that happened, I realized that they weren't ever going to listen to me again.
Knox, Sollecito, and drifter Rudy Guede were charged with Kircher's murder in what police claim was a drug-fueled sex game gone wrong. The trial splashed across front pages around the world, papers labeling Knox everything from she-devil to foxy Knoxy. Knox and Sollecito would be found guilty and sentenced to 26 and 25 years respectively. They appealed, and after 4 years in prison, were released due to a lack of DNA evidence. But they would not be fully exonerated by the Italian Supreme Court until March of last year. Rod Blackhurst and Brian McGinn are the filmmakers behind Amanda Knox. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Congratulations on the film. Was it hard to get Amanda Knox to sit down and talk to you?
It was a little hard, actually, because we let it be known to her that if and when she wanted to talk to us, she could talk to us. We first approached her and Raffaele after they were acquitted in 2011, but it wasn't until 2 years later that Amanda called us and said she was ready to kind of tell her side of the story.
And what did you hear, Brian, when she's finally sat down and kind of talked about what had happened? What did you learn that we haven't heard about this case? This is one of those where people think they know everything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the things that was interesting for us going in. And what we found is she has this kind of bird's eye perspective on these years, looking back on it in a way that is very unexpected, I think, for someone who had been caught up in this story. And we noticed that with everyone in the case. They've been thinking about it so much that they're able to really step back and kind of tie it to kind of larger ideas and kind of larger philosophy.
You spoke to Amanda and to Raffaele, who at the time of this incident, that was her boyfriend, and they were pretty open with you. We have another clip. I want to play it right now.
My heart's beating so fast, like, you know, like, oh, there's the romance now. And I kissed her.
Compared to so many other guys who were just automatically like, hey, baby. Like, he was super nice, and I was completely charmed, and yeah.
Did you find them to be pretty open? That is a side of them I think we haven't seen.
Yeah, they were all very open with us. I think they'd all felt like there'd been these different versions of them painted and portrayed in the way the media was covering the story, and they wanted the opportunity to talk about themselves in their own words.
You also found some of this home video. You see this other side to Amanda. I mean, some of this earlier video, which is before all of this happened, you see this young woman who seems so vivacious and full of life and so different than the public image we now associate with her. What does she say about how this experience changed her, Brian? And is that something that you yourself noticed in terms of her demeanor?
Yeah, well, we kind of keyed into this idea of accidental celebrity with everyone, that kind of these people have been caught up in this story. And it's not only Amanda and Raffaele, it's Giuliana Menini as well, the prosecutor in Italy. And all of these people have been kind of talked about so much. And everyone in the world kind of has an idea of who they are. And I think, you know, they walk around on the street, people recognize them, and they think that they know them already. And one of the moments in the movie that I think is interesting is Amanda says, you know, people recognize me in line at the grocery store, and they say, I know you. And she says, you don't know me. And for us, that idea, you know, after 8 years of kind of headlines all over the world, it was really, really fascinating.
I have to say, it's not without controversy, because although you talked to many players in the case, you weren't able to talk to the Kircher family. And Meredith Kircher is the person who lost her life here. She's the center of the case. Did you try to talk to them, and how do you feel about the film without that perspective?
Yeah, we did reach out to the Kircher family twice directly in 2015 and 2016, and we'd still very much like to talk to them if they'd like to talk to us, but they've made it, you know, clear that every time they have to talk about this, it's re-examining this wound. But even with that being said, we wanted to make sure that people in the film remembered that this was a tragedy at its core that became this piece of entertainment and this set of headlines that, you know, caught the world up, you know, for the better part of a decade.
I should mention, we also reached out to the Kircher family, who declined to comment. It's an interesting film, takes a look at the media's role in all of this as well. Rod Blackhurst and Brian McGinn, congratulations to you. Amanda Knox streams on Netflix. That starts tomorrow. We'll send it over to Carson.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.